What is your way to win in this economic system? Because if you are just a worker, you are never going to be able to be financially free, even if you're Steph Curry. Because eventually, if you keep spending the money, it will go down to zero. If you don't keep working, if you don't keep playing basketball, your money stops coming in. So now, if you're trying to think about what is your financial freedom plan, how are you going to make money without you having to work? The question is now, are you going to do this or are you going to do this? Or are you going to do both? Now, I'm not going to go into how to start a business in this video because there's a lot of work required in that. But every single person in America can be and should be an investor. But the question here is, how do you actually do it? Because if we get a little bit more technical, there's actually two ways that you can invest your money as an investor. You can invest your money as an investor for equity, we'll call that E, or you can invest your money as an investor in the form of debt. We'll call that D. Now, equity and debt are two different ways that you can invest your money with two kind of different results. When you invest your money for equity, now what you're doing is you're investing in ownership in an asset. If you invest in real estate and you go out and buy a property, you're buying ownership in that property. This is what I'll be focusing on my real estate workshop. If you go out and invest in debt, now what you're doing is you're lending money to somebody to go out and invest in real estate. You're giving somebody a mortgage or a loan so that way they can go out and invest in real estate. Now you don't get ownership, you're getting your interest payments. So now, if you go out and lend somebody $100,000 to go out and buy a property and they can 10x their money, well, it doesn't really mean anything to you because all you're going to get is your 7% interest payments. Whatever contract you agree to, if you agree to a 7% interest rate, that's the maximum you're going to get. But on the flip side, if you lend somebody $100,000 and then the property goes down, well, you're still going to get your 7% because you were entitled to the 7%. And even if they sell that property, they have to give you your interest before they can walk away with a penny. Now, sure, can they declare bankruptcy? Can they go into foreclosure? Yes, but you are the first person to get paid before the investors who invested for equity when you invest for debt, because the debt holders got to get paid before the equity holders. So what that means is now if something goes wrong, you're going to get paid as a debt holder, somebody who lent money, before somebody who's waiting for the profits, because you don't have any profits if you have to pay off your debt. Now, this doesn't have to just be in real estate. It's the same thing in the stock market. Like you can go and invest in companies, or you can also lend money to companies. I've talked about how you can invest in companies on the stock market numerous times on this channel, so you can watch those videos. But another thing that you can do is you can also lend money to those same companies on the stock market. For example, at the time I'm recording this video, Goldman Sachs is issuing corporate bonds, and according to the SEC website, Goldman Sachs is paying out 5.625% interest if you lend money to Goldman Sachs. Now, you might be wondering, well, how does this work? This is called a bond. B-O-N-D. And no, we're not talking about James Bond, we're talking about debt. One of the most common types of bond you might have heard is treasury bonds. That's when you lend money to the government. I've talked about treasury bonds quite a bit. But another way that you can invest money is by giving your money to corporations or other entities in the form of debt. Now what you're doing is you're giving these companies money in exchange for interest. Now you don't have any equity, you don't have any profit share in the company. What you're doing is you're investing for the interest. Again, it's just an alternative way for you to invest your money. And are there risks? Absolutely. Because if Goldman Sachs goes bankrupt, you're not going to get your interest. But the whole idea here is there are multiple ways for you to invest your money. It's not just keeping your money in the bank, it's you can lend your money to the bank. It's not just keeping your money in the bank or lending your money to the bank, you can also own a piece of the bank. The key here is when you start making money, because most people start making money as a worker, you don't want to always just be a worker. Again, nothing wrong with being a worker, but that's not your retirement plan. That's not your financial freedom plan. I don't care how much money you're making as a worker. You're going to have to start taking some of this money and put it here or put it here. That way you can grow your wealth. That way your wealth can grow without your actual time by itself. Because there's a limit to how much work that you can do, but there's no limit to how much work your money can do. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.